Hello and welcome to Learning with Law. Today we're going to talk about classroom management in a VIP Kid classroom. So, what do you do if you have a student who is doing something else, staring off into space, not paying attention, or just drawing all over the slides? I'm going to give you some tips in this video to help you become a more engaging teacher and to get those kids focused on what you're doing. Before I get into that, please make sure that you like and subscribe to my channel, Learning with Law, so you can see all of my videos when they get posted. Also, if you have any suggestions or have questions, please make sure that you comment below in the comment box. Okay, let's get into it. What should you do if you have a student who is staring off into space? There are a couple of things that I do to help my students get a little bit more engaged. Make sure that you know their names in the beginning of the lesson. I always make sure to introduce myself in the beginning of the lesson, and if it's a name that I can't pronounce, or if they didn't leave a name, you can leave it blank and say, "What is your name?" Listen, and then you can write in their name. Sometimes I don't spell their name correctly. I'll either tell them to type it in the chat box or we'll spell it together on the board. This way, I can be sure to use their name throughout the lesson to grab their attention. What's another way to get students engaged in your lesson? Make it about them. It's not about you. Newsflash, you are not the star of the show. It's the kids. If you're not building rapport and getting to know your students, they will not be engaged. How are you going to know what they like, what's going to keep them focused, if you don't build that rapport? In the beginning and at the end of your class, always make sure to have conversations with your students. Even if they are level 1 kids and they don't really have a lot of language yet, you can show them objects. Hamburger? Yes! You can show them the AR stickers. There's so many different food options. You like, don't like. Super easy to find out their interests. Do you like basketball? Do you like soccer? You can use different objects and find out what they like. You know when their eyes light up, it's something that's going to interest them, and use that to your advantage. Bring that to the classroom every time to keep them focused. If the class is not about them, they're not going to be engaged. If a student is playing with an object on their desk, they have an elephant, bring that into the lesson. What is that? An elephant? And use that instead of what it says on the slide. I'm not telling you to ignore the slides. I'm saying use the sentence frames, use the vocabulary, and incorporate what they enjoy into the slide. You might not need to read every word on the slide, but as long as you're meeting the objectives, that's all you can do. That's what great teachers do, is adapt and be flexible. So if you don't know your kids, it's going to be hard to keep them engaged. So make sure that you're building rapport in the beginning of class so that you can have a very productive and engaging classroom. Make sure that the rewards you're giving your students are rewards that they're interested in getting. If you are obsessed with your ice cream and your ice cream maker, but your student doesn't eat ice cream or is lactose intolerant, maybe they're not going to really enjoy the ice cream reward. So if you keep pushing on them, what color? And they don't care, this is good for nothing. It's not going to help you keep your students engaged. If your students love flowers, create a reward with flowers. You can tell from the first time you give that reward to your student if they like it or not. Make sure that you pick up on those subtle cues that your students are giving you. If they don't like ice cream, do not reward them with ice cream. There's one reward that I use constantly, and it's my pick a number reward. I created a video about that, and I'll link it here, but I just recently updated it. I still need to update the top, but now it's turned into pick a word. So depending on what student you have, you can personalize their reward catered to the lesson. This is a great way to do extensions and to help them practice with reading. If you would like to check out more about that specific reward, you can click the link here. What if you don't know your student that well yet, and you just need something quick to keep them engaged? You could try a few sound effects. Eggs. I put coins in there. Love my clapper. When they do a good job, sometimes it just wakes them up. A train whistle. I don't like to just use items that kind of have nothing to do with the lesson, but if it pertains to the lesson and it's going to grab them in, definitely make sure you're using sound effects. One of my absolute favorite ways to get the students engaged is to use what I call the balloon incentive. This is a new incentive that I just started using, and it kind of happened out of nowhere, quite honestly. So what you do, you ask the student, what color? And they will tell you the color. Let's use orange. So you say orange balloon. If a student is not paying attention, not reading, sometimes just parroting what you say, you can use the balloon to keep them focused and kind of lure them in a little bit. If a student is not reading, you can start out by reading. Read the words on the screen, ask them to read. Once they start reading, start blowing up the balloon. They read more, blow up the balloon. More, keep going. The kids suddenly get glued to the screen. Oh my goodness, what is she doing? How much bigger is it going to get? They love to watch, for some reason, you blow up a balloon. This has worked pretty much every single time I've tried this. Make the balloon as small or as big as you want to. I will also wait until they get to the end of their reading, ask them a question, and then say 1, 2, 3. Or you can say ready, set, go. Ooh, and let the balloon fly all over the classroom. If you want, you can put your hand underneath and hold it in place. That works too. It's a really great way to get the kids looking at you, and it's more, in a way, interactive. Even though they don't have their hands on the balloon, they're able to control what you are doing. And who doesn't like control, right? So I suggest you buy yourself a bag of 99-cent balloons with all different colors and try it out in your classroom. Please make sure that you're taking deep breaths between blowing up the balloon, because I tend to get a little lightheaded, especially if you have a kid that's not very engaged. You are blowing up balloons the entire class. But it's definitely fun, and if your balloon flies across the room, that's great. Ask the student, what color? And bring out different colored balloons. There's so much you can do with these. If you have a really good idea of what to do with the balloon in your classroom, please comment below. Can you make balloon animals? Bring that into your classroom. I sure can't, but I would love to be able to do that. I might take some lessons on doing that. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you have any other ways to enhance student engagement, please comment below and share your ideas. I would love to hear from you. If you liked my video, please make sure to like and subscribe so you can be the first to know about my next videos. I hope to see you soon.